Well, welcome to the Transformational Podcast. I'm Chris. I'm back, the pastor from Paradise, and Robert, the Marine from Maryland. Sorry, I hit something there. Hit the dog.
That's
cage.
all right. Yeah, you
the
can say
Marine.
you're back. Yeah.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. That was a curveball that was we were able to work out because we actually did record last week, which I'm sure will be.
I might put that one on.
So,
yeah, I'm gonna put that on it. Chris will.
It'll drop sometime.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
It's all fine.
But the Marines took over on and during the Marine Corps birthday week, and so
that
I
checks
think
out.
that was I think it was very appropriate. Hey,
Robert,
look, I even have an edible crayon here. Just
there you go.
Celebrate the birthday. I'm saving it for a special time.
Did they hand those out at the Marine Corps ball?
No, they didn't.
They
did not.
Gotta give y'all something to entertain yourselves
Actually,
with.
Chris, I gotta go get our ball. I gotta go to our ball corner. You're gonna keep rolling. You're gonna tell. We have a gift from. We did our ball this week. Our Marine Corps ball this week. We had a gift, and it was a coin, but it's not really a coin. But I gotta get it so you can see it, and others that are watching can see it. I know where one is. I'm gonna go grab it real quick. You monologue for a second. Keep people entertained. No beatboxing. All right. I'll be right back.
Well, it has been a good week, and I don't know if you got to listen to any of the interview between Fred and Robert. What's funny, Robert doesn't know this, is that when I met Fred was Robert's roommate. I thought Fred was a really cool dude, and I remember thinking Robert didn't have the best of friends in high school just because there weren't a lot of guys around his age that he just got real close with that were solid influences. But I remember meeting Fred and his other roommate Jeremy and thinking, he finally has a crew.
Yeah,
and so
it was
really
good.
Great guys. Love getting to hear Fred's story this last week.
It was awesome, man.
And love the fact that you led him astray. Now, what's really funny is you talk about wanting to live in the gray or on the edge of the gray, which is hilarious because
I know what you're going to say.
I don't know if that was so much the case when we were growing up, but
no, I'm not really sure when that. I'm not sure when that happened. I think I was definitely Mr. Rule follower early on, and now I'm.
Dude,
I'm
you were such a tattletale.
Well, hey, you had it coming.
Anyway,
okay, Chris, here, check this out.
Oh my gosh, they gave that out. That was your Marine Corps.
That was the coin. That's the coin.
That's not a coin.
And if you look at it real close, that's all of the aircraft that are here at the MAD is Marine Aviation Detachment. So that's what that is. Now they did two sides on this, which makes it even cooler. Okay, that side looks really cool. Yeah, let's see if it'll focus. Yeah. Anyway, it may not. That's
pretty funny. It was funny that y'all embraced the edible crayon.
Hey man, you got to keep people guessing, and I think that's part
hilarious.
Of it.
So fun.
Yeah. So it was good.
I got to see some pictures of you and Hillary from the ball.
Yeah.
And so super fancy, super fancy uniform, all the things.
I had if you follow us on social, you probably get to see it on the Facebook somewhere. Maybe I'll have it put on the Transformational website, one of the pictures or something like that. But had a lot of people from my program office there this week, and it was a lot of fun kind of roaming around the event as I was trying to, now, Chris, I'm sort of the boss, and it's not as simple as just going and hanging with your people. There's people who come there and they bring their family, and I really do genuinely love all the people I work with.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that they have time to introduce me to whoever it is that they brought to the ball. Some of them brought friends, some of them brought parents, of course, spouses were there, kids. And so, for me, it was just a really genuinely good time to not just reflect on 250 years of the Marine Corps, as we like to say, Marine Corps dominance. But
no stress.
It was more fun for me to go around and spend time with the folks that I work with, and especially the people who enable their success. Most of these folks that they brought to that ball are people that enable their success. It was just a great opportunity. Annabelle was the only one who wanted to come, which why you saw the picture. The other two were like, it seems like it's going to be kind of boring. And
so you're saying Josh didn't want to get dressed up and come?
He enjoys getting dressed up, man. He likes to find new things in life. He just was last year. It was a little boring, and he's like, I don't know, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
And then,
Tell me this: did you have a ball?
I had a ball. You
There
know
you
what
go.
else? You know what else had happened?
What's
Because
that?
I think I'm.
Did you boot Scoot and Boogie?
I don't think I did. I don't think that was
Okay.
actually the music being played, but I did
Huh.
get out there and dance to the point of maybe slightly embarrassing
Well, there
my
you go.
daughter. But
That's
I tried.
perfect.
I tried. Yeah,
That's
I did my
exactly
best.
where you need to live.
I know, and
Yeah.
keep everybody guessing.
Yeah.
That's the point. Man, you threw me off. What was I going to say? Oh, I know what it was. I had some folks come to our table that I used to work with, and they know that I'm like celiac, and so I have a hard time eating certain things, and so no birthday cake for me normally when we go to these events.
Yeah.
But she has a kiddo who's like extremely, allergic to wheat and that kind of stuff, celiac. She brought me and Annabelle 6 gluten-free cupcakes that were absolutely
There you
delicious.
go.
I
Now,
mean, to
there's
tell you,
homemade or she
amazing.
buy them somewhere?
Homemade,
All right.
homemade. I
Let's
mean,
go.
like just tons of icing and everything like that. So, Chris, it was a good week. It was a weird week. It's a weird week because you get a few extra days off and you still feel like you have to get everything done. And so Wednesday
Right.
feels like Monday, and then Friday feels like Saturday, but it's really Friday. I mean, it was all over the place
You're
this
only a
week.
week away from another week like that. You realize that?
I know. And next week, hey, next week, Chris, I'm gonna be. Oh yeah, we should probably record early next week. But anyway, I'm going to a youth conference.
Okay.
They're gonna do youth fall retreat,
Okay.
and I'm gonna be one of the chaperones. So that'll be interesting.
There we go.
That'll I don't know. It's been funny to watch the way the Lord is working and using this. Um, it's it was an act of obedience in what I felt God was saying, calling me to do kind of in this season of life, because each
Hmm.
season is different. Each season he calls me to do various things, different things. And I felt like he said, all right, hey, this is an opportunity, kind of open a door. I've stepped into it. And it's been neat to see how he's working in and through me and around me. And trust me, Chris, you know me well enough to know that if he's working in these youth life, it's all because of him.
Nah, he's got a
Yeah.
good clay to work with. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So anyway, been a
Yeah.
good week. What's up in your life? We could probably talk mine all
Oh yeah.
all day.
I mean, we didn't have a ball, but we had a good time. So it was a
Leave
good
that to the
week.
Marine Corps. One time though, we're gonna get you up here and you're gonna go to a Marine Corps ball.
Wait, I'm allowed to go to a Marine Corps ball?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Oh,
you are. Yeah, we got to get more people. We'll talk about that next year.
okay. We'll see.
We'll do that next year.
We'll do a live, coming at you live from the Marine Corps. Just kidding.
Nope.
Robert is currently on the dance floor.
Yeah, that's a hard no, Chris.
Okay. But it was a good week all in all. It's the time of year where we're trying to get things ready for the new year while wrapping up the old year. So it's just like any other world of business that you have to get budgets ready. You've got to
Yep.
prepare
We're
for
working that
anyway.
too.
So that being said, it's been a busy week just with some of that. But my sons both had their first school basketball games this week, and
Barrett looked like he really showed up, draining a
it was
three,
fun. So basketball
posting up.
season's here. So that's the thing I love about football season. You have one game a week. The thing that can be challenging about basketball season is you have multiple games a week, and so but I enjoy it. And so I started, a new role at the games. I helped with the clock at the 7th grade and 8th grade B games. So I'm the clock operator.
You're the clock operator. So when
yeah.
people are upset about the clock, it's you.
Only messed up twice.
Starting stopping, strangely enough.
Well, you have to remember to start it again. So that's I can remember to stop it. It's remember to start it again because I'm watching the game. That's the struggle. But anyway, it's a good time. I enjoyed it. But they both played well for first game of the season, and man, things are rolling.
Good. Hey, this week I've been reading in Ezekiel, James, and of course, as you know, if you're listening, if you're a faithful listener to the podcast, the way my Bible does it is Old Testament, New Testament, Psalms, and Proverbs. And so I had Psalms and Proverbs this week. Good readings in both of those. Ezekiel's interesting, Chris, because he's going through how a future temple should be built. He's doing it, doing all the measuring piece. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, Chris. it is so nice on the days when he's doing that, which takes 2 days to go through the entire temple and the measurements and the rest. I think it's actually 3 days of measurements.
Yeah.
So grateful to have a New Testament
Oh
reading
yeah.
as well.
Absolutely. Every time I go through passages like that, I'm like, man, I'm glad that I have other readings today because, dear
What in the
Lord, I
I
think the
know.
one thing I can learn from this is that you care about every detail.
Yeah, right?
That's
No, I
the
mean, seriously,
takeaway.
that's what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. He
Now,
cares about every detail. So
do you know what I do? Here's pro hack. You ready? This is what I do.
you listen to it.
No, I
Oh,
Google it. I'm like, what's it supposed to look like?
there you go.
I mean, when it's time for me to go build this temple, Chris, I'll come back to
You
Ezekiel.
come back and find the
Yeah,
blueprint.
I'll come
Yeah.
back for the blueprint. But really, all
Yeah.
I want to know, what does it look like? And
Yeah.
it's hard to know what 14 feet by 34 feet looks like, or whatever it is.
Now, the other thing is, man, they spare no expense. I mean, it is,
Yeah.
it is a level of excellence like none other. So I
Well,
love
and
it.
it is interesting how he walks, how God walks Ezekiel through it on all the bits and pieces. To your point, no detail left to chance. He very much cares about each detail in it. But even as he even gets to the inner sanctuary, outer sanctuary, that kind of stuff, as he describes that piece as well, and what he expects to see on the pillars, the walls, the everything else. I mean, it's not just what I would call architectural blueprints that you would see in a house, and then you get to decorate the house kind of thing. He's like, nope, there's going to be palm trees on this. It's going to be this cherubim on that, and that's kind of how he walks through it all.
Right.
But again, I was really happy to have something else to read, because that gets sort of stale when you have a hard time imagining it.
Yeah.
Hence the Google.
Yeah.
But there was one line in James this week that really stuck out to me,
Okay.
and I just want to hit that one, and then maybe we'll back up and talk about the whole thing.
Do it.
It was James 2, verse 26. Now, I've read through James a bunch of times, and James is a really interesting book in that it was probably one of the kind of the early letters written. And it's Jesus's brother. So that's also really fascinating. It's one of the brothers who was outside. Remember when he was inside and he's preaching to the folks, and they're like, your mothers and brothers are out here. And he's like, who's my mothers? You're my brother. You're my brother. And so, Jesus at the time was kind of like, yep, got mothers and brothers. But you guys are the ones. And James at the time, I would say, probably didn't necessarily believe that he was the Christ, the Son of God.
Mhm.
And in fact, there's one point when Jesus is going to one of the feasts, and he's like, I don't think they're mocking him, but they might be mocking him, kind of poking at him, like, hey, why don't you go talk about how awesome you are in public, because nobody ever became king or ruler in private. And so
Mhm.
James is kind of needling Jesus, but now what we see is James gets it.
Yeah.
James met Jesus after he rose from the dead, and James is like, oh yeah, I see it now.
Yeah. I
He's
can
like, I
see
see it now.
clearly now.
Yeah. And
Yep.
it's this verse in verse 26 of chapter 2. It says, as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without deeds is dead. And I've read that verse a bunch of times, Chris.
Mhm.
And it made me stop. It made me stop and kind of go like, hang on, say that again. So as the body is without the spirit is dead, so also faith without works is dead. And I was sitting there trying to imagine it. James does a lot of talking about faith and works from verse 14 to this point, but he kind of buttons it up. He finalizes it with saying like, hey, your faith is like your body, and if your faith, if your faith doesn't have deeds, much like your body without spirit, your body's gonna die.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now here James is actually using a little bit of a play on words.
yeah, I was curious. Okay,
because the word for spirit is also the same word for breath. So pneuma, right?
nice. Okay.
Pneuma. So he's saying here that the body without the spirit, or without the spirit of life, the breath of life,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's saying basically, hey, it's the breath of life that gives your body physical life, right?
Yeah.
And it's your works that keeps your faith alive, that fuels your faith, that enables your faith to do what it was designed and created to do, and that's and that's that whole process of sanctification. Faith is not just for justification, which means that it's not just for getting you into heaven. Justification, the easy way to say it I've heard is just as if I've never sinned, right? It's we are justified through faith that because of what Jesus did for us on the cross and our faith in Jesus, we are now saved and our lives are just as if we had never sinned in the spiritual heavenly court of law, because when he looks at our sins, he sees it's already been paid for by the blood of Jesus. So
Yeah.
justification. Sanctification is the process of becoming who God designs us to be. It's the working out our, as the way Paul says it in Philippians, working out our salvation through fear and trembling. It's allowing our faith to take work in our everyday life. Because here's the thing, faith in Jesus was never meant to be a destination, but the beginning of a journey that transforms us. That's hence the name of our podcast, that transforms us over time. It transforms the way we live, because sin is when we put faith in our own way over God's way. Salvation comes when we go, I recognize my way is wrong, that my way leads to death. I don't want that anymore. And it's a transfer of faith from my way to God's way. So I come back to this, and he says, faith without works is dead without good works. You don't gain faith through good works, but your good works gives your faith the ability to do what it was intended to do in your life. And it gives life to your faith. It's, in essence, when you compare it to breath in the physical body, it brings life to your faith, that your faith can do what God intended to do in your life.
I want you to hit that again. I think that's the piece. So that's actually, I think, what made me stop and kind of like go, okay, wait a second, and just think more deeply about this one. Is it was that idea that you just said that faith that works was supposed to be that breath that gives your faith life. Is that kind of the way you just said that?
Yeah. It helps bring life to your faith. It gives your faith the new life that God intended your faith to give you, to walk in, to experience, right? And so here's a lot of people like to talk about this passage and go, is James saying that, that to have faith works is required?
Required to have faith, or faith through,
that it's a, and no. What he's saying is it is a natural byproduct of actual faith. It is a natural. Now, can we back it up? Because really, to get this,
because
got to go back just a little bit
before we do, just because I think that's actually what got me. Is it said faith without your works is dead?
Yeah,
and that's why I think your description there of as the spirit, as the breath gives the body life, it's the same way that deeds gives our faith life.
Right.
And I think without that, our faith, and we're going to back it up here. We're going to talk about it. I think our faith, it dies. It dies because there's no manifestation of it. There's no outpouring of it. God's supposed to fill us up so we're overflowing, and that transformation of the heart is supposed to go out and help transformation the sphere of influence that we have around us. So let's back it up.
And to that, Rob, like that idea of faith without works is dead. It manifest, those works manifest that faith in our life. I talked about this last week. You used to climb a bunch with Fred, and I've climbed some with. In college, got my own harness and climbing shoes and rope and all those kind of fun things. But here's the thing. I can tell you what that harness is rated for weight-wise, and I can tell you what the rope is and the carabiners, and I can tell you how it's supposed to work, and even the physics of, well, someone's on the bottom, they're belaying, and they're going to be able to stop me because of the physics of it. And, here's how like I can get as scientific as you want about my knowledge.
I'm glad you can.
Well, I enjoy that stuff. I didn't need someone to help me get through physics. But you said that
throwback,
podcast.
Throwback. Yeah, no, throwback. I like it.
But here's the thing. It is not until I start climbing up the side of that rock and I get high enough that now when I fall, I demonstrate my faith. My faith has a life of its own, because now it's not just knowledge about what it can do. It's now me truly putting the full weight of my trust in it.
Yeah. Do you really have faith if you don't like sit down in the chair?
Yeah, you can know as much as you want about that chair and the way it works and even how it's manufactured. You can watch other people sit in the chair, but it's your faith is only demonstrated. It comes to life when you put the full weight. Now, here's the other part. When you put your full weight, it comes to life because you get to see God come through.
Yeah.
It gives life to your faith because you're stepping out and going,
Yeah, that's a good
God
point.
doesn't come through.
I know, right?
But I trust him. I believe
Yeah.
him. He can do it. So
Yeah.
let's
I had
back
one
up
of
just a
those.
little
Yeah,
bit.
let's back up.
So James 2 verse 14 says, what good is it, dear brothers and sisters, if you say you have faith, but don't show it by your actions? He says, what good is it? He says, can that kind of faith save anyone? What does yours say there? I'm curious.
Well, because I switched over to NET, I think it says the same thing.
Yeah. Well,
let me switch back to NIV because that's what I'm normally memorizing. And I think I've talked about that. I typically,
it's kind of the same thing. He says,
Yeah.
can such faith save them?
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. He's going, is it even faith? If it's not changing the way you live, you need to probably take an account of, did I actually trust him? Did I surrender my way for his way? Really, that's what he's saying here.
Yeah, no,
Is
it's
that-
a check. It's absolutely a check. He's trying to say, hey, if you say you have faith but you're not doing anything, and that was one of the questions I had in my mind as I was reading this passage is, why do you think he even addressed this? Why do you think he wrote this down? I think he wrote it down because the folks at that time are no different than what we see today. You know, I'm a Christian, you know, because I was born in America, or I'm a Christian because I was born in a Christian family, or I'm a Christian because whatever, but their life is nothing more than like has a Christian stamp on it, right? And I think James saw the same thing then, which is really fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And I think along those lines, just the idea of a lot of people want religion, and James is going, it's not religious behavior. It's a relationship that changes you. And there's a coach that likes to say this sometimes, that coaches my kids. I love it. He says, if nothing, and he's talking about his faith. He goes, if nothing changes, then nothing happened. He said, if you truly put your faith in Jesus, then something changes. It has to change. It can't not change. And he goes, man, if nothing changed, then nothing happened. I love that concept. And that's really what James is saying here.
Yeah.
And so it says, suppose you see a brother or sister who has no food or clothing. So, and you say, goodbye, yesterday I'm living. Sorry. And you say goodbye and have a good day, stay warm and eat well, but then you don't give that person any food or clothing. What good does that do? And so you see, faith by itself isn't enough unless it produces good deeds, and it is dead and useless. So he's saying, look, you can say you believe that you're a follower of Jesus, but do you do the things that Jesus wants you to do? Are you willing to follow in his footsteps? And you know, a lot of people like to focus on that and be like, well, who are we supposed to give food to? No, it's not the principle is, hey, don't just say, hey, be religious, but be relational and step into it and go, you know,
how can I help you?
How can I help you?
What's the best way to help you?
Yeah.
Right. And so in this case, hey, it says, but you don't do anything about their physical needs. What good is it? That's what mine says. I'm not sure what the actual Greek is there, but maybe you can look that up. But my takeaway here is, you know, you say, hey, keep warm and be well fed. One of the things that our missions organization does that our church works on, and we get a lot of folks that actually volunteer at, it's called the Mission. And a part of what it does is it is not necessarily a full on like homeless shelter so much as it is I would call a rehabilitation center. So when somebody who is ready to come off the streets and says, hey, I'm ready to stop being cold and hungry, and I'm ready to like do something about it, we give them a place to sleep, rest their head, a place to shower. We help them with budgeting. We help them with getting a job. We help them with all of the things so that they can sustain themselves in their physical needs and their well-being.
Yeah.
We still take, by the way, they still take care of the folks that are living out in the woods. In fact, they used to camp out in the woods around it's actually called the Mission. They camp out in the woods around the Mission. because they know they can get food and they know they can be taken care of. They have church services on Sunday, but it's more than just that, just giving them food. It is also, holding them to, or helping them, I guess you could say, get to where they can actually feed themselves, take care of themselves. That's that well-being thing. And I think sometimes, I've done it where I'm like, hey, I hope the Lord provides for you. And then I walk away. Right. And as I walk away, and God has, and in times I've paid attention, meaning God has said, hey, you can help. And,
of course.
and I'm like, okay, yep, I can help. Hang on. Yep, I got it. I can help. And then, I go back and I help. Right.
Yeah.
And that's really what James is saying here. He's like, don't be just, callous and self-centered. And he actually goes through that actually later on in his letter is don't be so self-centered.
Yeah.
But that's really what he's saying.
And this is something I think that followers of Jesus in the local church should be a part of. I think this is part of the deal of meeting the physical needs for the sake of helping meet the more important need, and that's the spiritual need. As a church, we give a lot to several organizations that directly impact the under-resourced in our area. There's a couple of different ministries that we give to as a church straight from our budget, and we help meet needs when they arise. But I feel like this is really the role of believers is to step in and help meet needs, not necessarily enable, but help meet needs and help. And I say that only because it's one of those deals of there's a lot of people going, we're going to eliminate poverty. I don't know that we're going to, because people, like you said a second ago, they have to want to give, they have to want to start taking steps. And that's one of the things we see. But if they're hungry, if they're cold, let's help them. Let's help get them food. Let's help get them warmth. Let's help, get them the skills they need so that they can begin to, or the help, the medical help they need, or sometimes even the spiritual help they need to take steps. But the reality is he's saying, don't just see a need and say, well, I'll pray for you.
That's
he says,
right.
No. When you see a need and you can help meet the need, step in.
Yeah, and you hit it. It's not just physical. It could be spiritual. It could be the person at work who's got something going on, and you'd be like, all right, well, I'll pray for you, and then walk away. I've gotten better about this over the years, Chris, where I stop and I look at him and I say, can I pray for you right now? Is that okay? Is that something you wouldn't mind? Can we just, and I haven't had anybody be like, absolutely not. It's a little scary. To ask the question, it's a little scary, right? But most folks are like, yeah, I would really appreciate that. Yeah. Even the folks who have no faith at all. Yeah. You want to keep going?
Well, let me address this. Verse 17, he says, so you see, faith by itself isn't enough unless it produces good deeds. It is dead and useless. So when he says it isn't enough, he's not saying faith by itself won't save you. What he's saying is just saying you have faith by itself, an acknowledgement of faith by itself does not actually indicate that faith has happened. There should be a change. Faith initiates change. Faith initiates change.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, I love that. Love that line. But and he's saying, look, just saying you have this. And so this is a difficult deal, because I think this is where some people go, see, you have to have faith and works. That's what he's saying. That's not what he's saying, because it's by grace through faith. We have been saved, not by works, so that no man can boast.
Amen.
It's a gift from God. Right? That's Ephesians 2, 8-9. And so it's one of those things of going, it can't be both. So what does he mean here? And well, if you look at it, you start seeing, no, what he is saying is that, man, faith should transform the way you live. It should change you. And so it should produce deeds, right? And that's also, man, you start talking about, you get the Holy Spirit and you get the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against these things, there is no law. Like he's saying, look, these are the things that you should start happening in your life. That not from you trying. Fruit tree doesn't go out there and try to bear fruit. It just goes and it does what it was created to do. Listen, when you start living by faith, you will naturally start doing what you were created to do, right? Yeah. Because faith, good deeds, gives breath and life to your faith.
And it it's a cycle. And, Chris, it's fascinating because we sometimes, I think, it feeds that idea, that sort of works produces faith or whatever, but it also sometimes can produce the same thought process around, well, I need to get cleaned up in what I'm doing before I step off in faith. In other words, it's almost like this. I got a few things I need to get in order before I can follow the Lord, because I got some things that are in my life. And I actually like that he gives two examples. One of them's Abraham. But the other one, and this was the one that really made me stop also and think deeply about the verse, or about this section, was he gave the prostitute Rahab.
Yeah.
He could have put a reference point on anybody in scripture, and his reference point, James's reference point, is Rahab.
Well, and two extremes,
prostitute.
right? How cool is that?
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
That's what I'm saying, Chris.
Father Abraham and Rahab,
and
who
a
was known
prostitute.
as
A prostitute, and was considered righteous for what she did when she gave lodging to the spies and sent them off in a different direction.
Because it was a demonstration of her faith.
That's right. And it didn't have to start with her not, no longer being a prostitute and all that other stuff. Like, I'm sure that was probably the outpouring of her faith, because then I think if you're familiar, we've talked about this once. She's in the line of Jesus, which is, that's mind blowing.
Shocking.
It is shocking, right? Out of Jericho. And so I think it's interesting. And that point there is that sometimes we get caught up in doing like acts of faith, like of service, because we get, I think, sometimes overwhelmed by our sin. And we should be, to a certain extent, aware of and repentant of our sin. We should be bringing that before the Lord constantly. He wants us to bring it before him. He wants us to take it to nobody else but him. And even James talks about, hey, confess your sins one to another and you be healed. That's later on in this book. But what you see here is somebody who started from what we would consider like literally ground zero, like level playing field. But I think this is actually what's really cool about the cross, is that both Abraham and Rahab, where they're at in front of the cross, that ground is flat.
Yep. Level ground.
Neither one of them better than the other.
Yep.
It was their faith, though. Yeah. And then that faith bore action, because that, I like how you say that, because that action then increases your faith.
Yeah, I think about it like this, Robert. When you used to climb, don't you remember the first time you started climbing and you fell for the first time, or you had to, like, it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, no, you're starting to shake and you're like, I don't want to let go. And then you fall and everything catches.
Yeah. And you're like, oh.
Then it allows you to be a little bit more wild.
Yeah. And the more you do it, you get to a place, if you climb enough, you get to a place you don't even think about it anymore.
You just go at it.
You just go at it. Why? Right? Because now your faith has given life to your faith, right? Your actions, doing it over and over, it grows your faith in that rope, in whoever's on belay that is going to hold you, it's going to catch you. And I'm just telling you, as you start trusting God with your life, it gives faith to your life. It gives, and you start doing what he says. It gives life to your faith, that your faith continues to grow, right? So
one last story.
Yeah,
one last story before we wrap up, because we're kind of in that ballpark of the thing. But I think this is interesting, and I don't think I was even, I wasn't planning on talking about this today, but this week I was obedient to something that the Lord had asked me to do months ago, and I was like, I don't know, and so I didn't necessarily do what he asked me to do. And then when we were coming back from college for a weekend with my middle kid, I was like, what's that?
Oh, the middle one.
Yeah, the middle one.
Just kidding.
Yeah. I was, God brought it up again. It said, hey, I want you to do this act of obedience. And it had involved just sending somebody an email, asking them about something. And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And so I sent the email off. And it's definitely like it's a following what God is asking me to do kind of moment. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, Lord, I mean, if you want something to happen to this, like, this is all yours. I hand it over to you. And I was talking to him. He called me back or called me and we chatted this week. And I told him, I said, I'm typically, if I feel like the Lord is calling me into something, I just go all in. I jump, I go all in, and then I just kind of see what happens. Now, that's not always the way it is, because then I said on this one, it took me twice because, I'm human and I was a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
But I went all in, and Chris, it was nuts. As we began to develop a conversational relationship, and time will come on and we'll learn each other a little bit better as we go. He's a graduate of Texas A&M.
Boop.
Yeah. Was at the same bonfire I was at before I went to college.
Oh, no.
He's only a couple years behind me. He knows where our hometown is. He knows all this stuff. He knows.
Wow.
And I would no idea, Chris.
He's behind you?
But 2 years behind me in like his life, right? So like
about my age. We would have been there at the same time.
Probably.
You'll have to tell me who it is later.
We'll tell you later. But totally nuts, actually, the way it all played out. And I got off the phone, and you talk about how that act of faith, that being obedient to what God called us to do, then strengthens your faith. Mm-hmm. As I got off the phone, I had one of those moments where I have it every now and then where I'm like, I wonder what the Lord's going to do with us. Because this was clearly a him thing. I was obedient, right, and a lot of different things just pointed, connected. And I'm like, okay, like this was a God thing. And I even told him, I said, as I was getting off, I said, I'm very interested to see where the Lord takes this one. Because to me, it was 100% the Lord doing what he does. Mm-hmm. And so I think, we started with the idea, Chris, and it was the verse that really caught my attention here. And it actually caused me then to think more deeply about Rahab, and more deeply about Abraham, and then more deeply about why would he even write this to begin with? Mm-hmm. Who was he talking to, and why was he telling him this? It was that verse at the end that says, because he finishes it with this, he says, hey, as the body without the spirit is dead. In other words, mm-hmm, you can have a body, but a body without the spirit is dead. And in fact, the spirit is essentially the essence of who you are. It's the essence of your body in a lot of ways. It's that breath of life, that one breath begets another, and it gives you life to your body. Same way with faith. Without deeds, it's dead as well. Mm-hmm. And it is kind of like you said, I love that. If nothing changed, nothing happened. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to stop, pause, and say, am I being obedient to what God's calling me to do? Mm-hmm. Is there fruit from my life? Is there action that's going mm-hmm with my faith? And if not, do I need to take a minute and just stop and sit before the Lord and confess that sin and say, okay, I need a change? Or maybe you just need to kick your faith off. Because here's the deal, we talked about it, and I kind of shared with you at the end here, is that my faith couldn't be any more stronger to be obedient what God's calling me to do, because mm-hmm I sent that one email. And I'm like, I don't know, Lord. And it turns out it was an absolute 100% God connection. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I see it now. And so, I'm going to be probably more bold in the future. Still human, probably still a little nervous, but more bold in my faith in the future, because that one moment in time really did encourage, it strengthened, it gave life to my faith. So if you were going to wrap up, because we're about there, pastor this thing, Chris.
Hey, listen, faith is supposed to change you. That's what James is saying. And there's certain ways that God wants us to live. And if we will just do it, our faith will grow through it.
Amen.